Long ago, in the lush and prosperous kingdom of the Efik people, there was a king named Obong Akpan, who ruled with wisdom and great power. His palace was magnificent, adorned with carvings of mighty warriors and lush gardens that stretched far and wide. But King Obong Akpan possessed something more remarkable than his wealth and palace, a magical drum that was the envy of every neighboring chief and noble. This was no ordinary drum. Crafted from the sacred wood of the Iroko tree and tightly bound with the skin of a rare leopard, the drum had the power to summon food and drink when beaten. All the delicacies one could dream of would appear, steaming and fragrant, upon the beat of the drum. From spicy jollof rice and tender suya to sweet coconut cakes and freshly tapped palm wine, it was a feast that could satisfy even the hungriest of crowds. Obong Akpan, though generous, was also wise and guarded the drum carefully, knowing that such power could bring both prosperity and ruin. He only brought it out during grand festivals or to feed his people during times of famine. The people loved their king for this, singing praises of his fairness and kindness. But news of the magic drum soon spread far beyond the borders of the kingdom. Among those who heard the tale was Etim, a chief of a neighboring village. Etim was known not for his generosity but for his cunning and greed. His mind raced as he thought of the feasts and power he could command if he possessed the drum. One day, he set off to visit Obong Akpan, his heart full of schemes. When he arrived at the palace, Etim was received with the courtesy due to a visiting chief. The grand hall was bustling with music and laughter, the golden walls glinting in the sunlight. Etim smiled and pretended to admire the sights, but his eyes were fixed on the drum resting beside Obong Akpan's throne. "Ah, Obong Akpan," Etim began smoothly, "I have heard much about your famous drum. Would you not honor me, your humble neighbor, by playing it for us today?" Obong Akpan was suspicious but decided to indulge his guest. With a steady hand, he tapped the drum. Instantly, platters of food appeared, filling the air with their rich aromas. The guests gasped in delight, and even Etim's greedy heart skipped a beat at the sight. As the evening wore on, Etim's plan took shape. He stayed late, sharing tales and laughing heartily, all the while watching for an opportunity. Finally, when the moon was high and the guests had departed, he made his move. He waited until Obong Akpan had stepped away, then slipped into the chamber and grabbed the drum. Before Etim could sneak out of the palace, a guard spotted him. "Stop, thief!" the guard shouted, waking the king and the entire household. But Etim was quick and darted into the night with the drum. He ran through the forest, branches scratching at his skin, until he reached his village, out of breath and trembling with excitement. The next morning, Etim called his people together. "Rejoice," he declared, lifting the drum high. "I bring you the magic drum of King Obong Akpan. From this day forth we shall feast without worry." He struck the drum with a resounding beat. But instead of food and drink, a sudden roar erupted. Storm clouds gathered, darkening the sky. The people gasped in fear as a swarm of ants, snakes, and scorpions poured forth from the drum, writhing and biting anything in their path. Etim's triumphant smile froze as he realized his mistake. The drum had a hidden curse. It only served those who possessed it with pure intentions. Panic spread through the village as people fled from the chaos. Etim, now terrified, fell to the ground, the drum rolling away from his grasp. In that moment of despair, he knew he had brought ruin upon himself and his people through his greed. Word of the disaster reached King Obong Akpan, who sent his warriors to recover the drum and help the suffering villagers. When they arrived, they found Etim cowering, his fine robes torn and dirtied. The warriors took the drum and returned it to Obong Akpan, who played a calming beat that made the pests vanish and peace return. Etim stood before the king, ashamed and broken. "Obong Akpan, I have wronged you and my people. My greed has brought only sorrow. Forgive me, and let me atone for my folly." The wise king looked at Etim for a long moment before speaking. "Etim, greed is a disease that can consume even the strongest. You have paid the price, and your people have suffered. Let this be a lesson to all that power without wisdom brings nothing but ruin." Etim bowed low, and with the king's permission, spent the rest of his days rebuilding his village and teaching others the value of humility and integrity. From that day forward, Obong Akpan kept the magic drum hidden away, knowing that true power did not come from objects or wealth, but from wisdom, kindness, and the spirit of the people. And so, the tale of the magic drum spread far and wide, not as a story of greed, but as a lesson in gratitude and the importance of a pure heart.